Hey everyone, Juan Weezar here with Sage Real Estate. I'm super excited. I'm sitting down with Melissa Evans. She's the CEO of the Long Beach Post and the Long Beach Business Journal. Melissa, thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So catch us up on what's going on with the Business Journal, with the Long Beach Post, the role that it plays in the city that we love here in Long Beach. Tell us what's going on.
Well, it's been a very eventful year for us at the Post. The Post has been around since 2007. The Business Journal has been around since 1987 was when the first publication came out. And both publications were owned privately for many years. But a year ago, our former owner and us worked together collaboratively to turn the Post and the Business Journal into a nonprofit, which is kind of there's some new momentum for nonprofit news in the bigger media landscape. And I was very excited about this move because what we do is really a public service. We keep people informed. We keep leaders accountable by providing sort of a check on government through public records requests and various reporting projects. We also do very light stuff, where to eat. We feature chefs and the community at large. The culture here in Long Beach is so interesting. So, what we really do is very much in line with a nonprofit type model. So I did not know, though, because my background is all in news. So I was a reporter and editor for many years. I did not know quite how much work it was going to be, but I'm glad that I did it. We got a board a year ago in October 2023, and we actually dissolved the former for-profit company and onboarded new employees to the nonprofit in December. So, and then, there's been some very challenging times, but where we are right now, we're stable. We are in a good budgetary place. And we can talk more about this if you want, but financing and economics and journalism is a very hot topic right now, at least in our industry, that I think maybe some people don't know how hard it is to sustain a newsroom. So we are smaller, but we have a very good base of donors. We have a strong membership program, a strong advertising program, but we are definitely poised for growth, I will say.
Right. I enjoy reading the Post. I love reading the Business Journal, and I love that it was coming out every other week. And I know that right now there's been a pause on that, and it's going to be coming back soon. Mm-hmm. But people in the city of Long Beach, I feel like without the Post, not that many people are reading the Press Telegram. And I would choose the Post and the Business Journal over any other publication that's out there. And so I'm glad that you guys fought to find a way to keep both of these around, because like you said, hey, it is a public service.
Right. Yeah, well, you know what? I mean, I've been in this business for 30 years, and it's something that I personally feel very passionate about truth and the public's right to know. So transparency, equipping people with information, which is power, levels the playing field. There's a lot of talk about, there's a lot of cynicism about government. Some of it's warranted we're a few days away from the election, just who controls the levers of power, both locally and nationally. And that's what we do, is we equip people with information so that they can be empowered to get involved and to vote, vote with intelligence. But, so I was the city editor at the Press Telegram for 7 years before I came to the Post in 2018. And the Press Telegram is actually a really good example of what's happening in the industry. It was purchased by a hedge fund around 2015, and it's just been gutted. And I love the people at the Press Telegram, by the way. Like I would have stayed at that publication forever. I love the PT, the people there. But it was just suffocating under, this hedge fund ownership. And what we were able to build at the Post, and the company purchased the Business Journal in 2020. I'm really proud of. And when it came time a year ago to figure out what to do, we were facing being closed down, and I was not okay with that. And there was a group of people at the Post that were not okay with that. And so, because of where are people going to get good information? There already aren't enough journalists,
right,
doing this kind of work. So I, myself and a few others, decided we were going to fight for it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you. And so let us know what, when you talk about the importance of journalism and investigative journalism, give us some examples of some of the stuff that you've covered in the city that have been noteworthy.
Well, you know what? My favorite, the best, it's a heavy story, but the best example was, and I talked about this recently, was that there was a terrible crash 5 years ago on Halloween night. It was almost exactly 5 years ago. A young man who was 20 at the time was able to get a bottle of Jack Daniels from a liquor store, drove drunk through the Los Cerritos neighborhood and killed a family of 3, a mother, father, and a young, adorable 2-year-old boy named Omar. And it was devastating. The community was horrified by this tragedy. And so we covered the tragedy. But one of our reporters really stayed on this story for years. And what he did, he investigated how this woman who ran this liquor store and had been disciplined multiple times by the state for selling to minors and other infractions, how she was able to keep her liquor license. And the coverage was so powerful that the local city prosecutor here actually pushed for a change in state law to toughen penalties on liquor store owners who break the law and sell to underage individuals. So Lena Gonzalez, our state senator, proposed the legislation. It got signed into law a year ago.
Wow.
So that's, and I'll say that's rare. Like, a lot of times we do this work and you don't see the change immediately. And even for this one, it was 5 years. But I feel like one of the most touching things is, it was at the sentencing hearing for the driver, the grandmother, the mother of the woman who was killed that night, told the reporter that he had been Omar's voice during all this. And that's why we do this, is because people who don't have a voice would never have their stories told, and changes wouldn't happen if people didn't know about it.
Right.
So,
and I think sometimes people think, I was having a conversation with a friend, and after I went to the event for the Long Beach Post this last week, and he was saying, yeah, but aren't there internet publications doing this? I'm like, I don't believe that they're doing this type of investigative journalism.
Not this kind.
Not this kind.
Yeah.
And so it's being so, like, if you're not covering it, who is going to cover it?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. You need, there is I'm not one of those people who's against AI, or I'm not against technology, I'm not against social media, but you need to have local people on the ground who are filing public records requests and trying to, sometime when I was a reporter, you'd go to people's houses, knock on doors. You have to have those. It's a lot of work to do a story that's fair, accurate, that's hard, that is tough. We don't publish things unless we're 100% sure that, we've given everyone a fair shake. This takes time. It takes effort. It takes money. It takes resources. And you're not going to get that with, a national publication or, some kind, like a wire service or something like that, which all of that has a place, but we need a strong local reporting staff.
Melissa, you had shown us a graph that we're going to display, and you said since 2004, there's been 2,100 newspapers that have vanished.
Closed completely.
Yeah. And, folks are going to want to know, well, why is that?
Yeah. Well, I was just talking about this. So, and I don't want to give a lecture on the whole history of journalism, but there was a certain, I blame our industry for a certain level of arrogance. Like I think when radio came along, everyone was saying newspapers were going to die and it didn't happen. When broadcast TV came along, everyone was saying newspapers are going to die and it didn't happen. When the internet came around, everyone was saying newspapers were going to die and it did happen. And the reason why is a few things. Number one, people get information for free. And of course, the internet and social media fundamentally changed our economy and the way we live our lives. So I don't know that there was that anticipation that would happen, but it was things like Craigslist, the online that destroyed classified advertising. Before, when you looked for a job, not that long ago, you would buy a newspaper because that's how you would find a roommate or whatever. And that's not how people do that now. So that was classifieds. But then when social media came around, what happened with social media is we lost the distribution. So we lost the channel to reach people. Before, your news would be delivered to your doorstep.
Right.
And the newspapers, I'm pointing to myself, but I was not one of them, controlled that. So they own the printing presses. They paid the delivery boys. Now, all of that has gone to Google and Facebook.
Yeah.
All of that distribution and the ability to get advertising has gone elsewhere. So, what we're really doing at the Post and what I've been working on the past year is figuring out, and I'm not alone, by the way, I don't want to claim credit for any of this, but paving a new way. So with the nonprofit model, advertising will still be part of our portfolio, of our income. It'll be about a quarter, no more than that. We have an incredible reach. There's a lot of value to advertisers, both in the print. You mentioned we published 4 editions this year. We're going to 6. We're growing slow.
So
but
this is for the business journal. Yeah.
So there's still value in the product because we reach people and we're trustworthy, and brand alignment is valuable to companies. But the other buckets of revenue have to include donations, memberships, which we have no paywall now. We took our paywall down. So those are considered small donations, all tax deductible. And then the other thing is grants. So we were able, foundation support. So we were able to get almost $200,000 just in 7 months in grant funding, which is phenomenal. So it'll be our diversified. I know that word's used too much these days. It's almost lost its meaning, but our revenue has to be diversified in order to make it.
I know that even and we talked about social media, but even following the Long Beach Post on social media is great. And, I follow them on X and I follow them on Instagram, and a lot of my news comes from the stuff that you guys are giving. And you're right, it is a trusted source.
Yeah. Yeah. And I cannot take credit because when we joined the Post in 2018, the Post already existed. I mean, it had existed for many years and it was a pretty small staff, and they were really prior to my arrival, they were really pioneers on Instagram. And so the Post the Press Telegram still does not have an Instagram. Yeah. Wild. So we had a solid base, and we have almost 108,000 followers on Instagram, which is incredible. And that's how most people get their news. Right. So yeah, I mean, we're big on Instagram, especially Facebook. It's pretty stable. Actually, we still get most of our referral traffic still comes from Facebook. But the Post was really an early adopter of those means of communicating.
Melissa, your boots on the ground. What's happening that's great with Long Beach moving forward in 2025 for folks who are who love the city like we do? What exciting things are happening in 2025?
Like news-wise?
News-wise, anything, whether it's business or I like the directions the city's taking in this, and anything you could share with us.
Well, I mean, the reason why I have doable goals to grow our staff, because there is such a need right now for coverage. I mean, there's so much going on in Long Beach. I could talk about a lot of things, but
what are some of the biggest stories?
The port has huge infrastructure projects that are coming in the pipeline. The city has major infrastructure work to get ready for the 2028 Olympics, which there's already organization around, how we're going to get the city ready for this massive event. There's a lot of economic issues that are facing the city. The city is winding down its oil operations, and they're going to have to figure out how to fill that hole. So there's some some challenges for the city to grow other sectors. Of course, we have a growing space industry here, which is kind of interesting. I got to write a little story myself the other day about a company. Gosh, I hope I don't get this wrong. One of our local companies actually pioneered a way to bring rocks back from Mars, which was kind of cool. There's so many different directions I could go with where the coverage is needed. One of the areas that I'm really hoping to get enough funding in our end of year campaign for is education coverage. There are so many young families here who don't have any way of getting independent, reliable information on schools and the school district. So there's a lot of needs. There's a lot of topics to cover.
Melissa, our channel is very, very pro Long Beach. We help sell Long Beach.
Yeah.
Right. So yes, we sell real estate, but at the end of the day, people have options.
You're selling Long Beach.
Do we go to San Diego? Yep. Do we go to Carlsbad, Marina del Rey, Redondo Beach? Why should I come here? Inglewood has a stadium. Every city has something happening, and we're here always promoting Long Beach. So we love what you're doing. How is it that the folks that support us that are watching today, how is it that they could support you and your cause and your mission?
Well, that's a great question. One of the, first I will say, if you read the Post and if you read the Business Journal, then you should be supporting it at the level you can, and our membership, we consider someone a member if they're on a recurring plan that's only $15 a month. So it doesn't take very much, just to become a contributor or a member, and we are so grateful for those individuals. We also need major gifts. That's a big part of, and we consider a major gift anything above $5,000. So for this end of year campaign, we actually have a $15,000 match that we're trying to raise money against, but also we have an opportunity to get more, a bonus for identifying local matches. So even if you can put up $1,000 as part of this campaign, that's helpful because we can double it by matching it. The other way is by sending us news tips. We need, news is much better when it's a dialogue with the community, when you're talking to us and we're talking to you. So we need story ideas. We need to know what's going on. Some of our best stories come from people who live here and just reach out. Share our content, talk about us, thank you for sharing about us. But we need people visit our website, lbpost.com, visit us on Instagram, and share our stuff. There's a lot of power in that too.
What's the best way for people to, I know you just gave the website, but what's the best way for them to contact the Post or contact you or?
All of our email addresses are just our first name at lbpost.com. So mine is Melissa, 1L, 2 S's, at lbpost.com. But you can, if you go to you can find all of our contact information. The general inbox is editor@lbpost.com. So which we all take turns checking. It's massive, but you can email that. If you have questions about membership, it's just membership@lbpost.com. And then we're pretty easy to find on social media too. So.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming in
thanks
today.
for having me.
I'm going to give you the final say. So if there's anything that you want to say, feel free to share it with our guests.
Yeah, well, I will say I'm very grateful, and I'll be brief, but I'm very grateful for the previous owner for investing so much into local journalism. They turned this company, this incredible asset that we've built over the past 6 years to the community. Now news is in the hands of readers. It's in the hands of the public. And that's incredible. there's an incredible power in that, but we also need to do this together. So we will need participation from the community in the long term to make sure that our leaders are held accountable and that people have information to make good decisions. That will make Long Beach better.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So there you have it, folks. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time.